What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. This year, I introduced a new small group coaching program called Leadership Lab 101, and today's guest took the leap and joined. I can't wait for you to meet her. She's building a network of therapy practices here in Ontario, providing everything an occupational therapist would need to launch a new location as part of the broader network. Think of it as a franchise operation for healthcare. One with a stellar leader that guides you through all the businessy stuff that you need to be profitable, save you time, energy, and money as you make that incredible impact in your local community. She's got 5 locations with plans for more, and you'll hear how joining Leadership Lab 101 is helping her help her location partners. Leadership Lab 101 is designed for women who own a business with a smaller team and a big need to get ready for more growth. It's a fast-track 4-month program that teaches you some of my signature team and leadership tools that you can quickly apply and begin to see the difference in how your team performs. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast. I'm your host, Shelli Warren. I've worked with so many business owners over the years, and they all have the same secret to spill when we first meet. They have team troubles. Yes, it's a secret they've been keeping for a long while because most of their peers and family don't believe them. You see, from the outside, everything looks fabulous. They've built a wonderful reputation, a strong following of delighted clients and customers. They've created a brand that resonates with people, and the proof is in their revenues. But the truth is, they're struggling to lead people, and they've pretty much been around the block and back with team turnover. They admit that they're proud of the small business they've built, and yet at the same time, they're so tired of trying to grow without an agile team who are happy to work alongside them. They know that they need a team, but not just any team. And just like you, they're ready to learn how to lead in such a way that fits their perspective as a woman who owns a business, runs a second shift on the home front, and wants to create a legacy for their family and community for years to come. So let's hold hands and jump in together with today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Let's start our interview today with a little reminder that the team that got you here may not be the team that will get you there. My guest today is client Alison Hendricks. She's a wife, a mom of 2 girls, and an occupational therapist who, along with her business partner, Sue Wall, founded Collaborative Approach Therapy Services, CAT for short, with 5 current locations in Ontario. CATS offers a unique opportunity for independence and team collaborations with the ability to access other OTs in the field to open up a wealth of experience, resources, and mentorship. Therapists own and operate their own clinics while belonging to a supportive network team. You're going to hear how this started and why she loves it so much, and how she's leveling up the support she provides to each clinic owner. Now, before we start, Alison mentions the 5-hour work plan as being her favorite tool so far that she's leveraged as a member of Leadership Lab 101. And if you're new here to the podcast and not familiar with the term 5-hour work plan, here is a quick roundup. The 5-hour work plan is not a job description. It's a living document that outlines the key deliverables for any role on your team with specifics. When used properly, it can become a roadmap for success that each member prides themselves on. It's not meant to be stuck in a drawer or filed away in a Drive folder. No, it's meant to be a talk sheet for one-to-ones and data for you and your leadership team to make people decisions. So what are those 5 R's? Here they are: role, responsibility, results, requirements, and renewal. Now, this tool has been around for decades in corporate, but what I've done is stripped it down into a more meaningful tool that works really well for small business. So let's get going. I can't wait for you to meet Alison. Welcome to the Stack Your Team podcast, Alison.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm happy to have you here as a fellow Canadian. You're literally only about maybe a 4.5-hour car ride for me.
Just down the 401.
It is down the 401. I mean, if anyone has been to Canada, they know that the province of Ontario is huge. But yeah, that is fairly close in Canadian standards.
It is. And it's wonderful to be here and represent all that we can do here in Canada.
Yeah, it's incredible. And you do a lot for your industry, for your local community, for these expanding surrounding communities that you're branching into. And I first talked to you and you explained what your business was. I was really intrigued because I just thought the whole idea, the whole concept was super cool. So tell us, how did it come about?
So my business is an occupational therapy clinic. We are collaborative approach therapy services. And because that's such a mouthful, we go by CATS. So we call ourselves CATS. And how it came about really is need within the communities. So the need for occupational therapy services, primarily we work with pediatrics, but we also service adolescents, adults, parents, to be able to support them with their everyday occupation, right? Whatever that might be, school skills, friendships, behaviors, parenting. That's kind of what we're looking at when we're looking from the lens of an occupational therapist. And when I say we, I'm speaking about the team that we have here in Guelph, but then also we as our CATS network is a network of collaborative approach therapy service OT clinics. And right now we have those locations in Cambridge, Hamilton, Sarnia, and Simcoe. So we then, as our locations, all collaborate together to be able to share resources, share supports with one another, business mentoring. So it's nice. It's collaborative. It's not just part of our name. It really is our primary value and our philosophy.
So how did you move from being a solopreneur who had her own clinic in Guelph to deciding you were going to launch a network?
Well, it's kind of cool because we started with the vision of the network.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I worked in private practice for many, many years as, as an employee, as an occupational therapist. But when my business partner and I decided to go out on our own and start our own locations, we did so with the vision of the network. It was a wonderful way to start a business because we recognized at that time the value of systems, the value of documenting all of it, really being able to grow a business that we already planned to scale.
That was really obvious to me when we first met. You already had the vision fully mapped out. It wasn't an idea or a dream. It was a full-on vision that was actually brought to life. You already had these 4 locations. And with big aspirations for even more. So I love that whole idea that you had experience within the private practice world and were craving to do it differently, and then decided that you would literally go out and do it. So tell me, what were some of the challenges that were unexpected?
Maybe the challenges almost even started before we opened. So, asking about kind of where this came to be. So part of it came from conversations with my business partner, Sue Wall, who runs the Cambridge Cats. I like to think I'm a pretty good occupational therapist, but the idea of owning a business terrified me. So I didn't expect to be a business owner. If you asked me sort of 10 years ago, not a chance. And that's part of it is there are so many fantastic OTs out there. There is a need for these OT clinics, but in no time during our education, often in many OTs' careers, there's none of that business support. There's none of that entrepreneurship. And in fact, sometimes there's quite the opposite, where we as caregivers, as healthcare professionals, we see business almost as a bad thing, right? Profit, payment, invoices are seen as something that's not to be spoken about. And so I would say the challenge was overcoming that mindset that I can be an OT, I can be a great professional and a business owner, and a successful business owner. And that's what we want to be able to offer in the network, is supporting people to say, hey, you have these OT skills and maybe you have business skills as well. But if you don't, that's also okay, because that's what the network is here for. We can grow together.
I do find with many of the healthcare professionals that I've coached over the years, there's definitely a sector of them who believe that they really shouldn't be very profitable. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where that conditioning stems from, but it's almost like they believe that because their purpose in life is to take care of others and support others in need, that they really shouldn't be profiting on that. And there definitely becomes a time where they have to face the music and really understand, wait a minute, if I'm not running this business in such a way that it is profitable, guess what? My doors are going to be closed and I'm not going to be able to help anyone. But it definitely seems to be a struggle for the CEO herself to wrap her head around past. But then I also know that there are many CEOs that are in my programs too, whose team members are resisting the profitability. So just like you said earlier, it was that whole idea of billing, invoicing, payment systems were all bad or taboo topics. When in reality, for those members, they haven't yet grasped the idea that, wait a minute, I'm not going to have a long-standing career in the healthcare field of my choice if I don't select to take on a new role working for a CEO who has an occupational therapy clinic, who really knows how to keep the doors open.
Exactly. I think if you turn that word profit into sustainability, it makes a mindset shift, right? I want to sustain this business. I want to be here for our clients. I want to be here for the team. And, that was a time that it really shifted, when it went from just me working by myself, renting a room, to then growing a team. And now we have a team of 6 OTs here in Guelph. And then again, across the network, even more. It's not just me. And it's not just sustaining my life and income. It's my team. And how can we do this? And what systems do we need to set in place? And what policies set in place so that this can be a spot people want to work for years and years and years? And that's where, again, Shelli, with your support has been so, so helpful to build that.
Well, it really is deciding, hey, I selected this career path. I'm really good at it. I feel wonderful being able to help these individuals and these families. And I want to be able to keep doing it. And by the way, I'd love it if more people did it too, right? Because the more people that do it, the more people get served. So it really takes a change in outlook. And I love that you experienced it, your partners too experienced it. And so you know that these other OTs, whether they're coming to you to join one of your existing teams within the network, or whether they're approaching you to start their own clinic and be part of the network, you already know that they may be grappling with those thoughts.
Exactly. And a big piece of it is working through that, sort of that mindset shift to be able to grow yourself as a leader and to be able to grow your clinic into something that can really offer a lot to your community.
What are the nuts and bolts of this? How are you and Sue figuring out how to position joining the network as something really compelling to either a new OT that's just graduated, or maybe an OT that's relocated into a province, or someone who has had a long-standing career at another practice and they're thinking about starting a business? How are you positioning your network as really compelling career opportunity for them?
Yeah. So to be honest, Shelli, we're figuring that out. We are figuring out how to, share what we believe is a huge support and, opportunity for people. For those newer OTs who join our team, so they join as part of the OT team, one of the things that we have created, and I think is so supportive, is lots of learning resources, right? So lots of opportunities to shadow others, to learn from what we call our CATS College videos. So again, resources that we have put together. And so that when you come on board as part of our team, they feel that support there. They feel like part of the CATS crew, as we call ourselves. And then for our partners, so our location owners, it's really helping them understand that let's not reinvent the wheel. We have these training opportunities. We have the resources created, and being able to recognize that, there's a lot of efficiencies when we can work together as a team.
I just love the whole idea of creating the sustainability and predictability for not only all the team members that are members of your network, but those partners, those network leaders that are moving into those director roles, with every new location that you're opening up. They're really coming in, raising their hand, deciding that they want to step up into a leadership role. And I can imagine that it's an easier decision to make and a more compelling decision to make when they know that there's all these incredible supports that you've built up for everyone within the CATS crew. I just love that whole idea. So tell me, how did you decide on what were the essentials that these new partners would need in order to open up another location, be a part of the CATS crew network, and be successful from day one?
Yeah, great question. So we lived it, it was, and this again is where Sue and I had a great opportunity, is that right from the start, we knew what we were building. So we paid attention. We paid attention to what works and what doesn't. We are constantly evolving and making our onboarding even smoother, making our marketing even more efficient. Things like sending out holiday cards to our referral sources. We're getting all of those down to a great system. So it's seeing what's working, documenting what's working so that we can rinse and repeat.
I love all that. I love how you're making it so simple. You're making it so simple. But, the fact is, because you have a desire to streamline these processes for each new partner, I know I've worked with you long enough to know, Alison, that you're pretty convicted. When you make a decision, you move forward on it, and you have really high standards. There's a big picture, dreams and goals involved here. So you're not going to do anything halfway. You're going all in on all of it. So I can only imagine how comforting and confidence building it is for these new partners to come in and decide to join the CATS network. I just love the whole idea of it. I think it's incredibly brilliant. So tell me, how did Leadership Lab 101 fit into all of this?
Yeah. So I was looking for some support because things were growing, and that's fantastic. And as I said, I want to grow in a way that I can scale. So CATS Guelph has been open 5 years. And so for 5 years, I was doing that pretty well by myself or with my team. But I got to a point where we now have a team of 6, and I just need some more supports in how to set up that team structure, how to be able to communicate clearly to the team what is required, how to support the team with responsibilities, right? They're also growing in what they want to do outside of just working with the clients. And so Leadership Lab, is something I've been following your podcast for a long, long time. And then when Leadership Lab 101 came up, it was just exactly the right opportunity for me to be able to have that support that then ends up supporting the team, the clinic, and then of course the clients, because when we can be organized and working at our best, it funnels down into the clients as well.
Well, I'm incredibly honored that you said yes, because this is new. The whole Leadership Lab 101, the program is so new. The tools not, right? These have been my signature tools for many, many years. And the concept of me being your coach and trainer, that's not new. But it was the whole idea that it was packaged up separately from our popular Leadership Lab program. I just felt incredibly joyful and honored for each one of you that said, yes, I want to try out this new thing that Shelli's got going on. So I really appreciate you. So what has been like your favorite part
of the Leadership Lab? I would say I have 2 answers to that. Answer number 1 is being able to connect and share with other leaders. It's so wonderful to hear how our businesses can be so different and so similar at the same time, right? In a totally different field, but we have the same needs, the same questions, the same things we're figuring out. So that's really that group aspect has been really beneficial for me. And then the other one, more logistically, is the 5R. I love the 5R work plan. And that was what I needed in terms of that tool and structure to get all of the ideas that I have down in my head onto paper. What do I need from the team? What does that look like? How do we know when we're successful at that? I really appreciated that tool to put some organization and structure into those needs and those roles.
And I'm going to assume here that every tool that you're learning in Leadership Lab 101, the intention is that you're going to master those tools. And then you are going to train your partners at all the locations within your network to really leverage those tools as well, because they really do become extension of the CATS brand.
Exactly. And Shelli, to tell you the truth, like I almost feel like we've cheated, that I'm going in as the representative. But that's exactly it. It's going to be a support across the network.
Well, I get it. I totally can connect the dots on this, and I see the value that you're offering, not only the partners that are deciding to come in and be a director at a brand new location under your brand, but it's all of those OTs, not just the OTs, all of the admin team, but everyone that makes up that extended team for each one of those locations are going to benefit from the commitment that you had to develop as a leader and the follow through that you're taking action on right now, a member of Leadership Lab 101.
And, to be able to bring that, like I've already was chatting with one of my team members about a 5R, and being able to, the other thing the tool gives is it puts all of sort of the thoughts, the expectations, the responsibilities down, but also gives a conversation piece to then make that 5R collaborative, right? Again, our philosophy isn't it's me telling you what to do, but it's okay, let's look at this. Let's look at what we need. What do you want to add to that? What do you think is missing? And, one of the things I love, Shelli, you always talk about how it's a working document, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not one and done. It's as the staff member evolves, as the clinic evolves, as the needs of the community evolve, so do those 5R work plans. And so do the skills that we've learned from the Leadership Lab.
Yeah, those foundational tools are critical for anyone that's stacking their own team, because they're really developed for the team members. Like, I know a lot of members, when they join the program, they think, oh, give me because they're all for me. They're all for me. No, they're not. They're actually all for your team. They're literally put together so that you can ramp up the ownership for every team member. So you can ramp up the accountability for every single person on the team, so that every single person on the team can finally understand what they're getting paid to do. And then be able to even gauge themselves on, am I doing a good job or not? Am I meeting these expectations or not? Yeah. So it's really helping those team members to really stop thinking like employees, start thinking like business owners, and start to learn, hey, how can I add more value here? I really like what I'm doing. I want to stay here longer. How can I continue to enjoy my work and just keep adding more value so that I keep wanting to come in here every day? That's what it's really all about. And that 5R work plan, I know it is the most popular tool I've ever introduced since I moved off into the world of entrepreneurship and out of my corporate career. But it's definitely a favorite tool of mine to teach as well. And I get so excited for every woman that leads that I meet that really grabs hold of it and goes and leverages the hilt out of it. It's just so great. So tell me, because I know that you are a high performer and I see how deep you've dove into Leadership Lab 101. I see the results that you've had in such a short amount of time. I also know that you're leading this massive network. So tell me, how are you making this happen? Like, how are you taking advantage of the program, but also, I mean, you're a mom, you have a life partner, you have a life, you have, you're deeply rooted within your community. How are you taking advantage of the program, but not going at a breakneck pace that doesn't feel doable?
Yeah. Well, again, that was one of the things that actually really attracted me to the Leadership 101 was the time commitment, right? It was 4 months. And I thought, okay, I can make this my priority for 4 months. And so really it's prioritizing it. I've got time in my calendar every week that is Leadership Lab time. And that doesn't always include us, right? So it's not always our Leadership Lab meetings. It's my time dedicated to making sure I use these tools. I use this opportunity that we have together. So overall, it's prioritizing, and some weeks work better than other weeks. But I think the other thing is knowing the payoff, right? There's always the fires. There's always the things that need your attention at that time. But they are not going to be what helps your business grow.
Yeah, I love the commitment that you have to honor yourself and what it is that you're trying to build here. And you're willing to roll up your sleeves, do the work, not only to benefit you in your immediate location, but all of the other locations. There's just going to be that real trickle down effect. And I know that it's going to make a significant impact with the brand that you're building, Alison. I'm so proud of what you're building here. So tell our listeners, how can they stay connected to you, whether they are a parent, whether they are a young adult who may be having some difficulty in school or with maybe their first part-time job, or maybe it's a young professional that's graduated from secondary school and they're now into the world of work. How can you and your teams help them? And then, of course, let's talk about parents who have littles that may require some additional support.
Yeah. So if you're looking for what services we offer and a little bit more about our clinic, our website is the best spot for that, which is CA for Collaborative Approach, CA therapyservices.ca. If you are more of a social media follower, you can find us on Instagram, again at CA Therapy Services, and you'll see multiple locations, but CA Therapy Services _ Guelph to find us specifically. And then if you are a professional looking to learn more about the network, finding me on LinkedIn, Alison Hendricks at LinkedIn is the best way to connect with me personally.
Well, I will have all of those links teed up into our episode description. And I want to make sure we're putting a call to action out there. So not only for parents, young adults, caregivers, other healthcare professionals, but also to those occupational therapists that have come to a point in their career where they're just starting to ask themselves, what's next for me? I think having a discovery call with you to learn what the opportunities would be for them, open up their own clinic, serve either within their own region or maybe brand new region, but do it in such a way that they get this high level of support and done for you system trainings and processes. I can't imagine a more easier transition to go from being employed at a private practice to starting your own private practice than we have to offer within the CAT network. And I think it's incredible.
Thanks, Shelli. And I think one of the things, that I've loved so much about it too, is we're all kind of creating. So we work together, we've got the network, but we get to create our own things as needed by our community and our stage of growth, right? I started renting a room just by myself, and then 1 employee and 2 employees to build what we have here now in Guelph. And so for those people who are interested, you grow at a rate that works appropriate with the support. So it doesn't mean you're jumping right into what we have. It means we're there to support it. I mean, really, we're OTs through and through, right?
Yeah.
Both in our profession and within the network and that support there.
I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming onto the show to tell us more about your leadership vision, your approach to leadership, how you are staying an active, continual learner, developing your own leadership skills to the benefit of the team, the people that you serve. And thank you so much for joining Leadership Lab 101 and trusting me to try out this new thing that I wanted to put out there in the world. It's just a joy to have you there. And I know your peers appreciate the insight that you share with them.
Thank you, Shelli. Thank you so much.
Isn't she outstanding? I'm so thrilled to be supporting her as she continues to expand her CATS network. What a wonderful business model, helping other occupational therapists who would like to launch their own practice do it well, right from the start, with Alison showing them how, including sharing all the businessy and team and leadership stuff that they didn't learn in school or so far in their careers. Now, if you've ever been to Canada or looked at a map lately, you know that Ontario is our largest province. It's very big, and I'm confident Alison is set to expand further right across it, attracting more OTs to launch their location, making sure that more children, adolescents, and adults thrive every day. Now, one thing we didn't get a chance to talk about, but I wanted you to know, is that CATS offers a really cool kids print handwriting course. It's online and designed to help your child master this life skill so they can feel more confident at school. I just love that idea. And if you'd like to learn more about the 5-hour work plan and those other popular signature team and leadership tools that I share, designed specifically for people like you who have a small business, why not consider joining a Leadership Lab coaching program? I've got 2 for you to choose from so that you can leverage these tools and get a high level of support as you build your high-performing team, just like Alison is. Visit the website or check out the links in the episode description, and be sure to follow Alison on her social channels that you'll find there too. Leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times, so don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been craving. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.